Definitely no body checks and no slap shots.
Okay.
So that eliminates the hold.
One thing we have to worry about in the old-timer games, too, is that feeling comes back and you want to play beyond your abilities, and it's crazy.
Hockey Hall of Fame player, Gordie Howe. The top point in Blackhawk history, Makita. Number 9, the golden check, Howe.
There they were before us, superstars who came not only to play, but also to talk. Stan Makita on rookie salary.
Oh, about $300,000 a year. I broke into the league, I made $7,500 a year. Now, some of those guys spend that on curlers.
Fred Stanfield on league expansion.
It was better when I was here in Chicago, when there was only 16.
Billy Ray on either fans or players. We're not sure which.
Well, I always figured when I walked into Chicago Stadium that of the 18,000 people in there, I was the only sane one.
Chico Maki in his first Stanley Cup appearance.
I can remember the first shift he threw me out in the ice and 20,000 people there, and tell you, I'm bow-legged and my knees were knocking. I was really, just shaking. But it's a thrill that, you know, you never forget.
Bill White on jewelry.
That's our championship ring from 1970, 69 and 70. It's going to take a lot to get that off. Love winning, you know. That was very nice. Makes everything easy, right all the way down your family life, yourself.
Dennis Hull on brothers.
Well, somebody asked me once what it's like to have a brother for a superstar, and I said, well, you'll have to ask Bobby that.
Marty Howe on fathers.
It's just different playing with your dad, you know, like he won't answer you as dad, you know. If you don't yell Gordie, you're just not going to get the puck.
Gordie who? Oh, Gordie Howe. I'll tell you, I think for being 900 years old, he doesn't look bad.
They talked about how they've changed from their playing days.
Well, look at me. I'm nice and heavy and fat, you know, and enjoying life and enjoying the game I play. You don't get 260 pounds overnight.
The refrigerator player of the Blackhawks tonight, number 6, Reggie Fleming. Penalty is for dancing too close with the goaltender.
I feel this way. I played 20 years in this game. I put a lot of effort into it. I was in good shape. I worked hard. And after you retire, it's time to relax. I mean, I play racquetball. I play a little tennis. Play a lot of golf. I try to keep my weight down, but I love to eat. You know, my grandmother came from the old country, and she taught me one thing. As long as there's food on the table, enjoy it, because you only live once.
You might not know it to look at Reggie today, but he was once one of the great fighters of the game.
It just happened one time that one of our smaller players got in trouble, and I stood alongside and just watched him get beat up. And my coach told me, he says, you can't do that. You've got to be part of the team. One of your players is getting in trouble, you got to go and help. So that's where it started. And it just happened to start in the city of New York. And you know how things are done big on Broadway? Well, I ended up with 37 minutes in penalties.
When I was youngster, I didn't walk away, but I didn't wait until I was old too soon, smart too late. I knew that I didn't have a long enough stick to score from the penalty box, nor when I did get in a fight did I have the strength to carry on for the rest of the game. It really tires you out.
Did I ever win a fight? I'll tell you, I had a perfect record in all the years that I played. I'm 0 and 100.
I had the illusion as a young man of 17 that the reason I made it to the pro ranks is because I fought. And so I figured if that's what keeps me in the league, I will fight. And then one day, Mr. Adams, who was the general manager of Detroit, called me up and he said, okay, you fight, can you play hockey?
I think that some of the violent, physical things that were happening in the 60s and early 70s were not good for the sport.
And that's coming from Keith Magnuson, a guy who once took boxing lessons so he could try to hold his own on the ice.
Just from what I hear, the players are really a lot more serious about what they're doing. They spend a lot more time at the stadium, you know, looking at films, looking at how other teams play. We just practiced an hour and put all our energies into the game and had maybe a little more fun than they do today.
I wouldn't trade my time in the National Hockey League for 100 of the present-day games. when we were kids coming up at 18, 20 years old, we played for the pride of playing in the National Hockey League after, as I said, dreaming about it for so many years. We would have played for nothing. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of us did play for nothing. My first year in the National League, I made $6,500 and thought I'd really cut a mean swath. And every time I pulled that old crimson Blackhawk jersey over my head with Pierre Plot's picture on the front of it, I was proud, and I wasn't going to do anything to tarnish the image.
The thing that's always impressed me, and I have to remind myself, you're watching them, and all of a sudden you say, those guys are doing that on ice skates. And hockey can be beautiful when the puck is clicking off the sticks, when they're skating well and they're passing well. It's almost symphonic.
If hockey can be beautiful, then it can also be ugly, as you'll see when Old Steel on Ice continues with a roast of Bobby Hull.
If you just ask
The thing I always remember about Bobby Hull is when you see him in the playoff games up in Canada, and I always remember him winding up in the Chicago Stadium here and coming from behind and somebody giving him the puck and he'd take a big blast from outside the blue.
One of the greatest guys to watch, most flashy, you know, streaking down the left side, the blonde hair flowing in the wind.
You know, unbelievable. If, you know, if their age hadn't caught up with them, I bet they'd still be playing today.
What do you do for a guy who's done it all in hockey? In 16 years as the Blackhawks left wing, Robert Marvin Hull, the Golden Jet, scored 672 goals. He led the NHL in scoring 7 times, made the All-Star team 12 times, and Bobby Hull won most every award possible, including the Lady Byng Trophy for good sportsmanship combined with ability. What do you do for a guy like that? What else? You roast him.
In the Hull family, we just have the one set of hair. Bobby has it tonight. There are 13 of us, 11 of us in the Hull family. I have 7 sisters and 3 brothers. And one of the things you have to do when you're a member of the Hull family, when you see Bobby, you have to go up and kiss his ring. It's no big deal, really. You just go up and kiss his ring and get it over with. But someone here to roast Bobby Hull, who has played hockey with him for more years than probably anyone else, who retired from the Chicago Blackhawks for medical reasons. They got sick of him. Stan Makita.
Thank you, Dennis. Your usual self, about as smooth as a stucco bathtub. But let's get back to Bobby. After all, it's his night. He may not get too many more of these. I can remember back when, and Bobby and I do go back at least 30 years, maybe 29. You have a lot more guys up here are going to be speaking about the good things that Bobby has done in his life. What a career you've had. Scored over 5,000 goals. Not necessarily all in the rink. You had that big booming slap shot. You had that wavy golden hair blowing in the breeze. It was an early entry, I think. When you left to go up to Winnipeg, you doubled Makita's salary.
Someone who has been a big fan of of Bobby Hull from the very beginning, and has written glowing reports always, and is a real friend of mine, Bill Gleason. Bill?
All week long, boring people have been saying, how can you roast Bobby Hull? How can anybody roast the Golden Jet, the immortal? It's impossible. How little they know. There's a lot of hate in this room. They put his little brother up here as master of ceremonies. That's guaranteed hate. Think of what this guy went through. Hating his big brother all those years. Hating him still. Bobby Howe, the Golden Jet. It didn't matter whether he scored or not. That's just how Bobby felt about it, too. Winding up down there behind the goal, flying down the ice, taking that tremendous shot, missing the damn goal by 40 feet. Balloon! The whole stadium reverberated, the building. The organ went off without a player. It started to play. Oh, Canada! Oh, Canada! The Golden Jet, how many goals did he get? Who's got that there? 604 goals. Missed the net by 40 feet 15,000 times. We shall never forget him. Impressed on our imagination, we can see him in our nightmares. If you want to go to sleep, instead of counting sheep, count all those goddamn shots that not only missed the net, ladies and gentlemen, but missed the whole arena. There are buildings on Warren Avenue with big dents in them. You think they tore down those buildings? He knocked them down. Thank you very much.
That was Bill Gleason, a former friend of the Hull family. Last but certainly not least, although not best in the Hull family's eyes, is the original number 9, Gordie Howe.
I promised myself and I promised the Howe family, because we have a lot of respect for the man, that we were not going to bring up the subject of hair. And I said the reason being is like Elizabeth Taylor's virtue. There just isn't any. So but you know, we talk about, the only thing I got to argue about, Dennis, the only bad thing you have said today is probably, when you mentioned Brother Bobby, about probably the best. And probably one of the most exciting. I'd like to remove that probably and say he was the most exciting and he was the very best. And that's what I think of this young man right here.
Here's the only man in Chicago who's afraid to walk by an orphanage on Father's Day, who's been to first base more than Babe Ruth. My brother, Bobby Hull.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Trying to get back at individuals that roast you up here. I could likely get back at Gleason here, because he wasn't kidding. You know that. But Gleason roasted me when I was playing. I don't know, Stan was a bottle baby, if you didn't know. One day he pushed out the cork and escaped, you know. He also had his good looks insured for $100,000. And I wondered what he did with the money. But as Gord said, we've come a long way. I think we played against one another and with one another for all of some 23 years or more. And I know when I broke into the league in '57, Gord already had 10 years in the league, and they were talking about him retiring then. Thank you very, very much.
You may have wondered what these hockey greats are up to now that they're off the ice. Well, a few have stayed in hockey. Jim Pappin is a scout with the Hawks. Gordie Howe works for the Hartford Whalers. Dennis Hull is athletic director at IIT. Bill White works for a coffee company and teaches in Toronto. Keith Magnuson works for a soft drink firm. Bobby Hull is in the cattle business. Fred Stanfield's in office furniture. Billy Ray in sales and promotion with a container company. And Stan Makita is a golf pro teaching at Kemper Lakes. But far and away the most popular post-hockey career is, can you guess it? Real estate. Peter Marsh, Marty Howe, and Bob Daly are just 3 who've gone that route. One thing they've all done after hockey, though, is try and help kids learn the game. When we come back, you'll see these hockey superstars cut down to size.
me a...
After decades of giving it their all on the ice, these greats are now giving some back. Clinics with youngsters let the superstars fire up another generation of hockey players with the basics. Don't think these kids are too young. They're at least 3 or 4.
Did you learn anything today that you didn't know before? Right? Doesn't matter how old you are, even as old as Mr. Howe or Bobby Hull or whoever, you can always learn something every time you're out on the ice.
Well, I think it's fantastic that kids get started at a young age, because I was started very young in Canada.
You skate backwards, or just want you to go straight back?
I think every athlete, no matter hockey player, football player, baseball, basketball, soccer, I think they should realize that kids at this age are so very impressionable, and anything we can do to keep them on the straight and narrow, I think we should encourage.
It takes, obviously, for any sport, a certain dedication that players at a young age know they have it or they don't have it. And very few players will say it, but when you're 10 or 12 years old, you know that you have it.
You don't really know you're good until somebody offers you a contract that has money at the end of it.
I knew I was good enough when I was bad.
All know Wayne Gretzky?
There's also a chance to learn for the off-the-street club kids. Hey, everyone's got to start somewhere. Gordie Howe used magazines for shin guards and tennis balls for pucks.
And that was a little bit during the Depression, and it started then when we go out in the backyard, yes, and the fact that the puck hurt, we went to tennis balls, and the tennis balls were hurt a lot when they froze, so what the mother used to throw a hot ball out at us all the time, but I guess I love the game from the early going, because I used to eat my meals with my skates on.
You play ball. If a ball's thrown at you, do you open the glove up or do you do it this way? You open it up, right?
Right.
Okay, now, when you open up that, you're square with the target and you stop the ball.
I kind of grew up when I was a kid watching Bobby Hull and Gordie Howe, and it's kind of neat, but as for hockey players, I think you all stick together. I know there's only a certain amount of people that played the game, and you always know when a hockey player walks down a hallway or something, you can always tell he's bow-legged and always says A.
WLS presents Old Steel on Ice.
Guys who keep body checking long after their bodies have checked out. I'm Brad Palmer. Thank you for joining us.
Give me a light. No.